Do I sound good, by the way?
Yeah, man, legit.
Yeah, yeah. I think that whole trick of connecting the mic before I actually create the stream did the trick.
Mhm.
But what's going on, everybody? Back once again for another Conscious Approach video. My name, as always, is JV Wins. I am joined by Dogon SS. Appreciate you for watching. Appreciate you for tuning in. Before we get started with this week's commentary, I did want to say that if you're watching this video on the YouTube channel, please subscribe to the channel so that you can get the notification for all new content that comes by way of the channel. Also, hit the like button. Certainly appreciate it. And we do appreciate the new subs that we've been getting over the last couple of weeks. We've seen an uptick in that. So we certainly appreciate that as we continue to keep things moving onward and upward. We like seeing the community grow. I definitely do. So certainly appreciate everybody for joining in because this is the hub for everything.
Y'all,
Um,
y'all the real MVPs, man. Y'all the real
yeah, yeah, most certainly. So, without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and get into things for this week. We are going to start off with an interesting video that we found on World Star, where um, she looks like she's some kind of sociological or sociology expert, and she was sort of dispelling some fallacies about what goes on in relationships and the disillusion of relationships, like who cheats more, men and women, who leaves relationships more, men or women. The conventional wisdom, most people think naturally that men cheat more, that men step out more, that men are always the reason why relationships end. But she's suggesting not so fast. There's research that's been done that kind of shows that it's, if nothing else, equal. And it's not necessarily one particular gender over the other that is the cause for why some of these things fail. In addition to certain other fallacies that she tackled. So she gets into a lot of stuff. I guess we'll just give our reactions once we play the video clip because I thought it was pretty interesting.
skirt.
What does a guy get from a woman that he couldn't get from a cook, a cleaner, and a hooker? It goes back to like why it's better to date girls with lower body counts because they're more loyal.
Yeah, but that's I don't know about all of that.
So if a girl's a virgin on her wedding night, she has an 80% chance of a happy marriage. If she sleeps with more than 5 people, it drops down to 30%.
But that doesn't mean the man's gonna stay though. How many men?
Women leave most of the time. It's 70 to 80% of the time. If you're college educated, it's 90, and they cheat at similar rates. And there's actually studies that have come out recently saying that women cheat more than men. Because think about it, we have way more opportunity. We walk down the street, say hello to a man, he's down. I'm saying like as adults in a conversation, like yes, there are going to be exceptions, but if you have an 80% chance, isn't that better than a 30% chance? And if you were a dude, you pick the 80% chance. And second off, the other problem is like, a lot of times what girls will do is they'll give it to the last guys for free and then try to like they're used Honda Civic and trying to require BMW prices, but you can't go back to being a new BMW.
I do.
Hello.
So now I did watch more. I found the full thing on YouTube, and she didn't really get into explaining the correlation between body count and chances of a relationship being more successful. She suggested in that clip that there's an 80% chance that if a woman has no sexual partners on her wedding night, that the marriage is going to last, versus like a much smaller number if she has like a body count of 5 or more. But she didn't necessarily explain the science behind that. So I wish that she would have got into that. Not sure I'm understanding the logic there, but otherwise, yeah, she got into body count stuff and opportunities for sex more because women have more opportunities. Women cheat at the same rate as men's, what the studies have shown recently. So, what did you glean from that clip?
I felt like she was just spitting straight facts. A. B. We also witnessed the denial of the common woman when they hear straight facts, because they were just, no, I don't believe statistics. So that to me was comical. But yeah, I'm not surprised by those numbers. I kind of think, now granted, she didn't get into the science behind the 80% thing. versus 30% thing, but I can damn sure speculate, and that's what I'm about to do. And I think what she was more or less getting at is women, their vaginas are a black card. They can go anywhere and get anything they want with their vaginas. And the ones that are aware that they have a black card, well, they use it. And so if they have a body count of 5 or more, they have a tendency of swiping the black card. So they know that they have options, basically. So if they're in a marriage and they have a higher body count, that to me suggests more of a hypergamous mentality. And instead of trying to make it work, they're just willing to leave. And versus the ones that have a lesser body count, they hold on to the situation more because it's a lot more precious to them, because they're not just going around swiping all the time. And so I think that's more or less where the science comes in with that. And when it comes to the cheating rates, more or less being 50-50, I'm all on board with that. And so I have, me personally, in my personal experience, when I started going out here and dating and stuff, I was doing it with the purpose of finding a long-term situation that could turn into a wife. And that was more or less my philosophy with things. But once I was out here and just getting disappointed, well, I switched to thought mode, because I figured, I was like, why am I sitting on my hands where the girl that I'm interested in is getting hypergamous and possibly entertaining other people, you know? And so I said, well, I'm not going to be the guy sitting on his hands anymore. I'll be the guy getting it for free. So I went and started doing that stuff. In my journeys in Thoughtville, right, I gathered, because what allowed me to do it, I told them I had a girlfriend, even though I didn't have one. I was like, hey, I got a girlfriend. Yeah. And I was seeing if they were willing to entertain me, even though I said I had a girlfriend, and they were. Some of those girls had boyfriends and they didn't care. So once I saw that side of the fence, and I saw that, oh, okay, well, married women, engaged women, and women that were in long-term relationships were still giving it up for free to me. So I was like, all right, well, their guys never knew, and it was what it was. And yeah, women cheat. But if you say this to the average woman, you know, they're going to be like, oh, that's gross. That's disgusting. I'll never have multiple sexual partners. That's gross. I don't know what's good. All this other jazz, you know. But we said this before when we were talking about the what's that girl name? The Harvey, the Lori Harvey situation. And we were talking about how women talk in code, because they can't go around saying certain things, because lest they look like a slur. So they have this defense mechanism when it comes to telling the truth about their body count, about their sexual habits, the sexual fantasies. So I'm not surprised the women in that room were fighting back at statistics, because their code mechanism was kicking in during the fact drop. So that's my initial thoughts on this topic. So how do you feel about it?
Yeah, with respect to the body count thing, like I've gone on record saying, for me personally, the body count thing is not really something that I emphasize. Like but see, I'm different. I recognized a long time ago that women have a more frequent access to sex than men do. Women are always going to have more opportunities for access to sex than men are. The only men who have a greater access to sex than women are the men who are at the top of the socioeconomic food chain, which represents like 1% of the total population. So it isn't enough of a subset of the population to really make a dent with respect to the idea that men have an equitable bite at the sexual apple as women. So like I realized a long time ago, women have more opportunities for sex. They have greater access to sex than men. And me knowing that women have more opportunities for sex, I kind of accepted a long time ago that there's a very good chance that I'm going to routinely run into women who had more of a body count than I do. And you know, it's not that I have it's not even that I have a low body count. I'm just looking at it realistically. Women on average have more chances for sex than men do, even unattractive women, because that's just the way these things work. So, like, I never really cared about the body count thing. My whole rule was as long as you are disease free, I don't care what your number is, honestly. Now, if we get into extreme cases like what we talked about last week with Diamond the Body, that's a different subject. Like that, when you start getting into those types of absurdly high numbers,
Yeah.
there's cause to pause on my part. But otherwise, I prepare myself mentally going in. There's a very good chance that I'm one of several men who you were talking to. And there's also a decent enough chance that I am maybe one of being reasonable, at least maybe two guys that you're having sex with. That's just kind of the way these things work. So as long as you do it quasi responsibly and you're not diseased or you don't really have STD issues or anything like that, I kind of don't really care about the body count thing. Otherwise, a lot of this stuff to me is, you know, pretty common sense. I think the crux of the whole thing is it's very sensible to suggest that women, in my opinion, cheat more than men do, simply because women just have more opportunities. Like the reality of a woman is so opposed to the reality of a man. A woman can go anywhere about her daily life and be approached, accosted, you know, by men several times throughout that day. And I used to test this theory. I had female friends, and I used to ask them. I used to say, you know, excluding times where you go to social gatherings where this type of behavior is anticipated. So you know, if you go to a bar, if you go to a club, if you go to a lounge, places like that, a party, you know, you're going to anticipate being approached by men. But excluding those occurrences, let's say you just go into the grocery store, or you need an oil change, so you're going to get your oil changed, or you're going to the mall, or you're going to the gym. You know, you're going to socially neutral places like this throughout the course of the day. During your waking hours, how often are you approached by men in a manner in which this man is interested in you and is trying to get your phone number? He obviously wants to try and hang out with you in a non-platonic way. Like, how often does that happen to you on a regular, you know, on a day-to-day basis? And it varied from one girl to the next, but most of them said it happened at least a few times a day. Um, I can do all of those things for 60 days and not get approached by one woman. So the math just doesn't add up, and it never did, that men do all of this extemporaneous cheating compared to women. But what it's what but like the way that these women, the way that the women in that clip tried to deny the fact that that is true is evidence to the fact that, and you know, I've often I've made mention of my belief in the idea of the large group of men who are involuntarily celibate, meaning these are men who are of sexual age, who are interested in women, who want to be with women, but are being disqualified from having the opportunity to be with women because women disregard them because they are making themselves exclusively available to a small percentage of men who meet very particular sets of criteria. So, what I'm thinking is going on here is all of you women are interested in that specific criteria of men, which represents in any given population no more than 10%. So you believe you're being cheated on at a greater rate because you all are being cheated on by the same small pool of guys. If it was more open, right? If the floodgates were more open, we would see we would see a lot of these numbers regress to the mean in all likelihood, where you would see that even number playing out. But right now, the even number isn't playing out in large part because it's the same men who are getting the opportunities. And so, because those men have the wealth of options, there's no incentive for them not to cheat because what penalty do I pay for the price of cheating? There is no penalty because all the women are after me. So if you're mad at me because I cheated on you, tough luck. I'll just get with the next girl because you all are after the same guys. You all are after me. So I am incentivized in no way, shape, or form to not cheat. So what that ends up happening on the back end is men cheat more than women, when really that's not true. It's really the small percentage of men get the most opportunities, therefore they're doing all the cheating. But in reality, I think women actually do. If we regress this to the mean with all things being equal and you extrapolate that to the general population, women do cheat more. And I do think that women at the very least have an equal burden of responsibility with respect to why a lot of these relationships play out the way that they do. Like, it's basic math. Women get more opportunity. All you have to do is just, at any given moment in time, a woman is communicating with at least 3 to 5 men at the same time. Most guys are not doing that. The only guys who are doing that are guys who are at the top of that ladder in their respective environments. And you might think that there are a lot of guys who fit that build, but again, the only reason why you think that is because you're only talking to a small percentage of men. So your worldview of the guys who are able to flex this type of cheating capital is distorted because you're only dealing with 10% of all the men. So yeah, I think she was spitting facts. I do think at the very least it's equitable. I've never thought that it was just all these men out here doing all of these cheating and these women are just willful victims. I just think that, women have more opportunity, and with more opportunity comes the instances for a greater frequency of cheating. And also it boils down to how you qualify cheating as well, right? I've heard a lot of women say you don't have to have sex with somebody else for it to be cheating. If you're emotionally connected to a woman, you're cheating on me. I've heard that. I'm sure you've heard that as well.
Mhm.
So, like, again, who are the guys who are doing all of this cheating, physically or emotional? What percentage of the total population of men does that actually apply to? I just kind of feel like all the women are making themselves exclusively available to a certain profile, and it can distort your idea of who's actually doing this stuff because you're working with a sample size that is not actually representative of the general population. And most women, because they have more chances to do this than men, have a rotation of several men who they're communicating with. And I would argue that at least half of those guys, they have some kind of emotional attachment to. So even if you're not doing the deed with those guys physically, I would say that according to your logic, that would qualify as cheating. So who's doing the majority of the cheating? It stands to reason, in my opinion, and I think that this woman in this clip was suggesting the same thing. It's probably more women than men. Now, what does that mean in the grand scheme of things? That's up to your individual interpretation. But I do think that she was deconstructing certain fallacies that we tend to believe are true that aren't actually true.
And who's promoting these fallacies? So I agree with her and her takes because I don't know where she was pulling this stuff from, but it sounds right. And so now let's get this straight now. We're not talking about all women. All right, let's get this straight. So hey, I don't do that. Hey, I'm not talking about you, Shouty. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about the ones that do this, because not all men cheat. Hey, surprise. Right? So we're not talking about all women. We're talking about the women who do that. And so and that's why I said there's women that realize that they can get pretty much whatever they want through sex. And it might be attention, it might be money, it might be status, who knows? But they figured out that they can get certain things in life by, choosing up on somebody and dealing with that person that way, and extracting whatever. And so if that woman that figured that out gets into a relationship, a marriage, or whatever, a serious situation, that's always in the back of her mind, that I got options, like you said. And the option part is the black card I was speaking of. That it's endless spending. And so she can do whatever and whenever she wants. And so I've heard women that weren't like that tell me that they're envious of women that can go do that.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the cheating aspect, but using their black card effectively and getting what they want.
Yeah.
And so with those dynamics going on out here, I'm not surprised that these numbers are what they are. I agree with you with the whole hierarchy of males who go out and having the majority of sex, the majority of children, and all this other stuff, because those guys can't keep it in the pants. Papa was a Rolling Stone is a real thing. I totally get it. So that is a dynamic, and there is a large percentage of guys out there that either can't get it, or like you said, the incel people, or the people that's just trying to keep it 100. And so I've met guys, I've been in circles of men where it's just guy talk. There's no women around. And there's some guys in the circle who have committed strong relationships, and they're talking about how they cheat. And then in that same circle, there's no incentive for him to lie to these men in this group. But he'll say, hey, that's not me. I got a good woman at home. I don't do that. I've heard that. It's a thing. It exists. So there are good men out there. Not every man is willing to take, any low-hanging fruit that presents itself. So it's a two-way street. And that's why, fishing in the right pond, finding the person that you genuinely connect with on a more wholesome level. I think those are the more desirable situations to get in. But if one party has this insatiable desire to always consume, and they always want pleasure, they always want attention, those are very worrisome people, both male or female, because there's attention-seeking males as well. And so, this to me doesn't come off as a surprise. She also spoke of the education rates, and the more educated a woman is, the more likely she is to get a divorce. And I'm on board with that as well. To me, that also makes a lot of sense. And that goes in because intellectually, those women have a black card, and they feel as though that they can achieve and get whatever they want. And if whoever they're dealing with doesn't meet their hypergamous standards at that juncture, she feels like she can do better than this guy, whoever he is. And it's a sad reality, but this is the reality that we all live in. And so I appreciate this woman here for actually being a woman and speaking in a very objective kind of way. And that woman over there, all right, deny. Just deny. And the typical modern woman denial. And that's why, honestly, bro, when you're talking to a modern woman, you can hear it through the rhetoric. And once the rhetoric is being spilled, all right, to me, I already know that there's nothing truthful that I really want to hear. I really want the truth when I ask certain questions, and I know I'm not going to get a genuine answer back. So when I'm dealing with a modern woman, when they're always speaking in these codes, I don't necessarily front end believe them. I'm very skeptical of whatever their take may be. Oh, I don't do that. Oh, my homegirl, I know a girl that do that, but I don't do that. All this other jazz. And so I won't say guilty until proven innocent, but guilty until proven innocent whenever I hear modern women speak. And any of those women in that room that were rebuttaling whatever she had to say, those are the ones that guys need to be very cautious of, because if you put all your eggs in that basket and then she gets hypergamous on you, you'll be left whole in the bag, looking stupid, feeling silly, and it's a harsh reality. So yeah, I'm on board with you, and I'm on board with her. I think that this is something that more women need to hear, the statistics. Hopefully you're not denying them if you hear them, but if you're not one of those people, that's great. But just know that your counterparts are out here also contributing to the toxicity that's going on between male and female relationships in the modern era. So I totally agree.
Yeah, what I'm always appreciative of is just the deconstruction of fallacies.
Mm.
Like, because we just kind of haphazardly believe certain things that aren't actually true. And this whole who cheats more thing, we need to continue to peel back the layers on that. And if it even bears noting that men do it more, it therefore bears the question as to why. Like, listen, and contrary to what anybody might believe, I don't know what your favorite podcaster or content creator has told you, but there is no genetic predisposition to infidelity. Like, there
Yeah.
isn't. There Men are not born more predisposed to cheating than women. Like, we each have a blank slate. Okay, so if we all have a blank slate, it then, the question therefore becomes, who is more likely to do it and why. It's like, you have two kids, right, born under the same circumstances. One kid lives in a house where the parents are always buying donuts, and the other kid lives in a house where the parents don't buy donuts. The kid who lives in the house where the parents bought him donuts, now that kid is overweight. You can't suggest that the overweight kid was genetically predisposed to being overweight. No, the kid is overweight because he grew up in a house where he had easier access to means to become overweight. So, when it comes to the whole access to sex and all of that kind of stuff,
Mhm.
um, we all have a blank slate. Men aren't out of the womb born to be cheaters and all of this kind of stuff and dysfunctional with respect to relationships. So, all things being equal, who has more bites at the apple? Like, I don't if you're going to argue men have more bites at the apple, you're not being honest about the way this stuff works. Like, women have more opportunity. She said it. I don't think anybody's going to disagree with that. Not anybody who's reasonable, at least, would disagree with that. So, if you believe still that men do it more, I would ask you, who are the men who you deal with that would, have you thinking that men do it more, which speaks to the point that you brought up about fishing in the right kind of pond.
Mhm.
Who are the men who you're giving your attention to? If
Mhm.
it's men of a certain kind of ilk, then that speaks to your judgment with respect to the type of men that you're choosing, not to men's natural propensity for cheating. So we need to keep that in mind. And then one more thing, people need to just be honest with who they are. We have a lot of posers out here. I have a friend. You and I both know who he is. I'm not going to mention his name on this video. We used to have endless conversations about relationships, and we used to talk for hours. And he used to talk about how much he wants to have a wife and kids and a relationship and be married and all of this kind of stuff. But all of these girls are rotten. That was basically what his sentiment was. Um, and it was like, bro, all of the girls aren't rotten. You just keep talking to rotten women. So it's not them, it's you. Your judgment is askew. How about you try to talk to a different girl and you'll get a different outcome? But see, he didn't actually want to talk to a different kind of girl. He actually liked talking to the rotten women. And so I used to call him out on that. I used to say, you romanticize about the idea of being in a functional, stable relationship, and you talk about it, you wax poetically about it because in your mind it's a nice thing to say, but it isn't actually what you want. And I'm not here to tell you that you should want it or not. All I'm saying is if you like being the person who talks to toxic women and you like living a toxic lifestyle, just embrace it and be honest about it. But don't talk as though you don't want to do that when your behavior suggests the contrary. And it's the same thing with women. Like, you guys talk about how you want a man who does not cheat, and you want to be with a husband who's faithful, and you want a marriage and a family and all of this kind of stuff. But you don't actually give your time and attention to men who are most likely to give you that. You instead try to fit square pegs into round holes by constantly dealing with the guys who are least likely to give that to you. And then you turn around and blame all men for the fact that you have poor judgment. So if you like thoughting around and you like dating in a masculine way, a la Lori Harvey, and you like having multiple men on speed dial and you like extracting resources from men because you do have a vagina and you recognize that that's something that's easy to do, then just lean into it, embrace it, be honest about who you are, and just do it. But don't come to me talking about how you want to be a mom and a wife, and don't come to me talking about how you want relationships when your behavior suggests you don't actually want that, because you claim to be smart enough to know the difference, yet you keep talking to the same people, you keep dealing with the same dudes. So we have a lot of posers out here, men and women. We have a lot of people who fake it, except they're not faking it till they make it, because they'll never make it. They're just faking it into perpetuity until they become 50 and now they're all sad and want to do it right. But you're old now. So people just need to be honest with who they are. And we have a lot of people who are dishonest with who they are. I'm not going to cast aspersions on any of the women who are in this clip who are disagreeing with what the other girl was saying. But I mean, your ideology would suggest that you are trying to fit those square pegs into round holes. Who are the guys who you're talking to that would lead you to believe that men just naturally cheat more? That's what I would ask. And until you come to a realization on the truth of that, I would suggest not denying facts when they're presented to you, respectfully.
Well, yeah, but I think that there's just a natural stigma on men, period. And it's just men cheat more is just an overall rhetoric at this point, because men are dogs and men are and so they can't control themselves. And so yeah, that's always been, I've been hearing that since I was young enough to understand concepts from TV shows or wherever. So it's a stigma on all men that, oh yeah, you a man, oh yeah, you attractive, oh yeah, you out here, you cheating and stuff. And it's like, yeah, no, I don't have to do that. So but there's a couple things I want to bring up. So one, when I was going to FAMU, shout out to FAMU, we used to always have these like group discussions, panel discussions on campus and stuff. So I would always go to those. I love chatting on panels, as you can see. So when I was there, I would hear women give their takes on certain things, and that was the first time I was hearing some honest feedback from women about how often they get hollered at and stuff. And it was girls saying, it doesn't matter what I wear. I can be looking scruffy, didn't brush my teeth, didn't wash my face. I'm going to the mailbox in the apartment complex, and guys are honking their horns and saying stuff. I can be taking out the trash, and guys is honking their horn and saying stuff. So women they don't always have to take these guys up on that offer, but when you're constantly getting offers, there's nothing for you to just check yes for this one. So yes, they do have more options. And the other part I wanted to bring up is just the whole, what was I going to say? I was going to bring up, oh yeah, that women. So this is, now I'm getting to my personal philosophy. I personally believe that, well, this third dimension is a masculine place. And then outside of that masculine place, all right, there's the ethers, which is more of a feminine type of energy. People like to call that the universe or whatever. All right. The universe rewards men for being on their job, being on their task, carrying out their duties. If there's any woman that's attracted to a man, she's attracted to him because he's got a position of power, status, he's doing something, he's achieving, he's always on the move, he's always getting things accomplished. Those are the guys that women are seeking. And that's that higher tier of guys, more or less, that you were speaking of. There's some you know what I'm saying, some pookies out there that still be out here slaying stuff. But more or less, when we're talking about hypergamous and super hypergamous, as your term you coined, right? When women are doing that, they're seeking the men who are achievers. And so women, they being the reflection of the universe. If a woman is in a relationship with a man and he's not achieving, he's not accomplishing, he becomes less attractive to her. So her vagina dries up the more she sees him not achieving. And so life does the same thing to men outside of a woman. If you're not achieving, if you're not moving forward, you're moving backwards in life. So the same thing goes if you have a woman in your relationship. You have to treat her like life itself and achieve around her. And at that point, she'll see that I don't have to get hypergamous on this guy because he's being an achiever. But as soon as she's charted where you at, charted your achievements, charted your motivation, because when you talk to any woman, they're attracted to, of course, 6 foot and money and stuff like that. But they're also attracted to ambition, goals, and actually accomplishing those things. There was a female that I was talking to. Well, not really, but she knew me from school, and she had a full-blown relationship. I'm talking about 3 years plus. Yet she in my house laying in my bed. And before she got in my house and in my bed, she called me while I was studying something. And then me and her was talking on the phone like 20 minutes. And then she cut me off and she was like, "Weren't you like studying or something?" And I was like, "Yeah, but and she told me basically like, you shouldn't let a woman distract you from doing whatever you're trying to accomplish. And at that moment, I was like, at that moment, I was kind of deep, and I took it like kind of a jab, but at the same time, I was like, she's got a point. And a woman wants to see you achieve no matter what. Hey, baby, I'll get back to you later. Ooh, there goes the juices as soon as you tell her that. So guys who are out here working a job under another man, who gets paid under another man, all right, subconsciously, because the guys feel like he's holding it down, he's paying bills, he's doing whatever. Subconsciously, that woman feels like he can achieve more. He can do more than just working at this place. And so that's when that hypergamous energy comes out in a woman. So for males, what they have to understand is, why does she cheat on me? Why does she? Because I won't say that all women just cheat for the sake of cheating. They cheat because they get turned off. So why are they jumping ship? Because you might not be achieving at a high enough level. Not achieving so much like Tom Brady, where you make your wife want to leave you, but achieving to the aspect of, hey, this guy is really going out and slaying, that saber-toothed tiger and bringing it back. So for guys, the lesson I would like to just give out is that, hey man, instead of pointing fingers, get on your task, and then life will reward you with either that woman that you're with, she'll stay with you and stay loyal to that, because why would she want to leave that? Or if you're single, they'll start flooding in like money, and you'll be batting them away because you're so locked in on your goal and your accomplishments. And much like how any YouTuber or any content creator that's talking about how to get women, how to acquire women and stuff like that, the main thing that they always tell those guys is to be on your job, be in your purpose, and follow that through. And once you're doing that, you'll start attracting more women. And that's because I believe, again, that women are a reflection of the universe, and the universe rewards you for being on your task. So I don't want to just point my finger at women. Guys nowadays have to get off their behinds, stop working under other people, and try to create an empire for yourself. And I think that you will be a lot more desirable to other women. So that's my take on that.
Yeah, that's a nice sentiment. Basically, every guy needs to learn how to be an entrepreneurial badass. Realistically, though, only 10% of all men will ever achieve that in life. There's still an aspect of the way regular society works that has to be taken into account. I think that's a good message, but I don't think it's entirely practical. Not every guy is going to do that.
No, they're not.
And so, like what you described is reasonable. Like, I've never had an issue with women who intrinsically seek men who are upwardly mobile.
Right.
But what I have called so I think all of that is reasonable. I don't think for a single solitary second that any woman should get with a guy who is not moving in a certain direction with momentum. I don't believe in that. If a guy is broke, ladies, don't date him. If a guy doesn't certain things, if a guy doesn't have his own place, ladies, don't date him. I don't fault you for stuff like that. I am behind that. That to me is reasonable. But to me, what is unreasonable though is, there's certain things, like I coined the term hypergamy. So you brought up a woman being attracted to a man who is ambitious, and we've gone long enough on this segment, so I do want to continue. But real quick, like, we've gotten to a point where this stuff has become highly specialized. So, for example, and I was on the phone not too long ago with my sister and a friend of my sister, and they're both late 20s, and they were talking about this type of stuff and how dating has become so impossible and all of this kind of stuff. And they're throwing all of these words at me. My sister's friend was saying, well, I just want to be with a guy who's going somewhere, who's ambitious. And I asked the girl a question. I said, okay, so let me ask you this. Let's say it's a guy who works at Walmart. And he is trying to climb the Walmart ladder. So he wants to be a district manager where he's running like 3 or 4 Walmart stores. He's on his way he's going to make a pretty good living. He's going to be an administrator. He's going to be running stuff. It'll just be Walmarts that he's running. Would you date that guy? And she was like, no. And it's like, oh, well, I thought you wanted a guy who was ambitious. So it's not about whether he's ambitious or not. It's about the type of ambition. And that's why, I understand what you're saying. I just don't think women process it that way. So like a woman can say all day long, I want a guy who's doing this or that, or who's ambitious. Okay, well, ambitious can be a guy who's trying to be a general manager at Best Buy. You won't date that guy because that's not good enough. You don't want the guy who's a general manager at Best Buy. You want the guy who owns the Best Buy. And for some of y'all, you don't even want the guy who owns Best Buy because even that's lame. So, it's about perspective, and it's about what you perceive when it comes to all of these different types of terms. So, and that's where the hypergamy comes into play, because I don't think there's anything wrong with a woman saying, I'm not going to date a guy who isn't on his way up, who isn't eventually going to get to a point where he's doing this or that. I don't like to place dollar figures on it. I'm uncomfortable with that because, again, I don't want to place this unreasonable standard on success. I don't want to place an unreasonable standard on the mere attainment of a successful relationship. I don't like the fact that we try to tell men they got to be running businesses and making 6 figures a year just to get a successful relationship. I don't like that. I don't think that that is reasonable for men. I don't. I don't care what anybody says. Like, only 10% of the total population makes over $100,000 a year. Okay, it's a good message and it's something to strive towards, but I don't think that it's okay to place that kind of a burden on a man in order to say, if you want to have a successful relationship with a woman you find attractive, you have to be able to be doing this. And if you can't do that, you're disqualified. But that's what we see is going on, and so that's where I have pushback to some of the stuff in what you just put out there. Not that you were trying to say that per se, but I've heard that type of stuff before, and it's not entirely complete in terms of the application of the logic. Like,
so here,
let me just think, because I'm done after this though.
Okay.
Like, so again, when we talk about this code stuff, throwing out words like ambition, and all of that kind of stuff. Well, what do you mean by ambition? When the word ambition is a general term, and I'm not even talking to you, I'm talking to women, because women do this. So like when you invoke the use of the word ambition, which is a general term to describe the type of guy that you're after, please understand that ambition is a general term. That's a generalization. It can mean many things. A guy can be working at a department store and he wants to work his way up to run the department store. That's an ambitious goal to set for yourself. And if you achieve that, you have achieved a mark of ambition for yourself. It doesn't mean these women are going to date you, because they can perceive that form of ambition as not good enough, as insufficient. So it depends on what we're talking about specifically. And that's where we get into the nitty gritty when we're dealing with this kind of stuff, because it matters. The devil truly is in the details nowadays. And I'm not saying that it's right or wrong. I'm saying that it's important to qualify that, which is what brings me back to my central defense of her logic, because she is getting into the details when she's talking about reasons why people cheat and why those numbers can skew in one particular direction and what that all means.
Not factual. And yeah, you're right. And we got to bring up something like this again, because this is indeed we got deep in that. But
yeah,
I'll just say this, like, I get what you're saying, and you know lawn service. You got a lawn service and you got multiple trucks. You're a truck driver and you own multiple trucks. You don't have to be CEO of nothing. You just running your own you manning in life. You handling your business. Now, I'm not saying that those guys don't get cheated on, but I'm just saying that it don't have to be a grandiose thing. You're just, putting your feet to the pavement and actually getting things done. Women would like to see guys on the move. And if you're a guy if you're a guy on the move, that's more attractive than a guy who collects a paycheck and sit at the house and watch football.
I got you. And I will say that guys who are on the move have a greater chance to be successful than guys who are just sitting on the couch collecting a paycheck. But if you leave it up to certain women, not all, but certain women, it depends on what you're talking about specifically. I've heard women who will say, I wouldn't date a guy who's a plumber or an electrician.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
To me, that's like you're on the move. Like, if you're an electrician, you can make $100K a year. Like, you're on the move if you're an electrician. There's women who won't date a guy who's an electrician. Why? I don't know. Ask them. I don't get their logic. I just try to explain it. But plumbers, electricians, carpenters, like, it just depends. And the fickle logic of women largely dictates a lot of this stuff. So I hear what you're saying, but you're coming at it from a manosphere, red pill, logical standpoint. And what I'm suggesting to you is women don't think of it that way. Okay, a guy can be a carpenter. And to me, a guy who runs a carpentry business, to me, that's ambition. But to them, they're not looking at that. In their minds, a guy who's ambitious is a guy who's running some kind of corporation. or who runs his own real estate firm, or who is a lawyer or a doctor or something like that. We have different definitions of what this means, but the problem and the disconnect is that we're applying general terms in order to explain a lot of this stuff when really it's specific to what these individual interpretations are.
Agreed.
So it just I agree with the spirit of your message, but I've heard him say it. I've heard him say, no, I wouldn't date a guy who is a plumber. Okay, well, I mean, what are we talking about here? I wouldn't date a guy who's an electrician, a carpenter, a roofer, a guy who does construction, lawn service. You said a lawn service. Guy makes great living. He works with his hands. He cuts grass, he cuts yards, he does landscaping, lawn service. You got a lot of women out here who wouldn't date those guys. And that to me is hypergamy. And that's what I think is unreasonable.
Gotcha.
So
understood.
All right, so next we are going to move on, and we're going to talk about Erica Banks.
Yeah, whoever this
Erica Banks is viral right now because she's talking about the types of women that she's willing to go clubbing with, and people have taken her comments to task because I guess they're just a little unseemly. If you don't know who this woman is, I know some of the songs that she's made because I do follow the music. She has that song "Bust It." She's basically another one of these female rappers who are just like, pay me for my time. I get really wet, so pay me.
Yeah,
I can I can do all of this sexually, so pay me. I can't date you if you don't make $1 million. If you're not a millionaire, I won't ever have sex with you. I can't date you. She's another one of these women who spits that foolishness. There's nothing else that you need to know about this chick. That's what she is. And she recently went on Instagram to talk about the type of chicks that she hangs out with publicly when she likes going to the club. And now you mentioned modern woman rhetoric in the last topic. This is modern one. I don't even really use that term all that often, but this is some modern woman stuff here. So she's catching flack for what she said, but I don't know if it really matters how much flack she's catching. I don't really think it means much, but yeah, she made some weird comments that we're going to talk about because they are weird. So we'll play this and then we'll just dissect that.
Hold on.
Look.
Hang on. Let's try that again.
Yeah, one thing about Instagram, it automatically mutes.
Like,
a certain type of look. If she don't look how I want her to look physically, I don't want her to come because the look of everything is so important to me. Like if she ain't thick enough, no. Her not doing good enough, no. Can't dress, no. Skinny, no. And it's like I don't feel like I'm discriminating. I just want a certain type of look. She could be the sweetest girl I ever met in my life, but if she don't think a certain type of look, if she don't look how I want her to look.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So there's some more with this. Just a little background on how that is being received. And I'm reading here from an article from TMZ. It says fans accuse Erica Banks of being on a high horse with a Sadiddy saddle, especially after she infamously bragged about getting a BBL in the spring. But the busted rapper didn't budge on her stance. The Texas native claimed the surgery didn't change anything while clinging to her right to pick her friends to her liking, even if she's handpicking their attributes. And she even went on Twitter and she said, everybody's entitled to their own opinion, and I've never been one to convince people of liking mine. My preference of who I club with when it comes to my brand, so she has a brand.
Yeah, there you go.
Has nothing to do with y'all. Y'all never like me anyway, so why would I care what y'all think about anything I say? Lastly, I love my skinny/smaller women with a passion. Let's not get it misconstrued. However, when I go to the club, all capital letters on the word club, I want thick bitches shaking ass everywhere. That's my vibe.
Yeah, hell
There are
yeah.
there are even skinny women in my music videos. Most handpicked by me, so stop it.
Yeah,
All right.
all facts there. Shit.
Yeah, yeah, go
Sheesh.
ahead.
You getting facts today. Hey, first of all, before I get going, hey guys, hit the like and subscribe. All right. We be doing this every Tuesday. All right. We appreciate you guys for being here and hit that bell for notifications. All right. And but as she was just dropping jewels there. So my take on that, because I didn't catch that part of her explanation, but she explained what I was gonna say, basically, is that it's part of her brand. And so part of her brand is selling her body, not literally selling it, even though she may do that, but
No.
but selling it commercially. And so when she goes out, because part of her persona is that she's a bad bitch. And so bad bitches must be around other bad bitches. It's just what it is. So it's kind of like a goon rapper, right? If you got a goon rapper going, and he goes to the club, he doesn't want a Poindexter hanging out with him. And because he's losing street cred with this guy who doesn't look like he'll bust a cap. Yeah. So because when we talked about this before with the female rappers, them talking about selling their, selling their vagina and all this other stuff. This is their trap rap.
Mm-hmm.
So so basically the BBL is a AK-47. All right.
Yeah. Well, the BBL is a brick. It's a
it's a
brick.
brick. It's
Yeah.
an AK-47 or a brick. You know what I'm saying? It's a toolie. It's whatever these guys are doing. You know what I'm saying? And so shaking ass, that's cooking on the stove. That's whipping a pot. And so when they're out there, when the music video come on and the first thing you see is her in scantily clad, clapping ass, that's a guy in the kitchen with a fork, a Pyrex, and some Arm & Hammer. So she doesn't want a woman in there coming to her, her video shoots. Yeah, she don't want no woman coming to her video shoots with an apron, looking like, nah, get in there with that fork and start whipping them chemicals. And so, unfortunately, that is her brand. So I think she's spitting facts there. She knows her lane. She's sticking to her lane. And she's aware that if she walks out with women that don't look like strippers, then she's not being true to her brand. So I do agree with her in that respect. But unfortunately, it sucks that that's what our women feel like they have to be on in order to be successful in rap. But how do you feel about this?
People got brands like people got refrigerators nowadays. Everybody got a
Yeah,
brand.
you gotta have the brand, bro.
I find it ironic that you have to. There are so many parts about this that I find funny, honestly, entertaining. You have to commit. I'll say that I look. I might have my misgivings with certain things, and I might agree or disagree depending on what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing that I do always respect an individual for is if you believe in something and you commit to it all the way,
Mm-hmm.
I have to at least respect that. And the reason why I bring that up is because she made this statement about how you can't be skinny, thick bitches only, blah, blah, blah. Despite the fact that up until earlier this year, she qualified as one of those women before she went and got her surgery. So on the one hand, even though I hate ass surgeries, I have to commend her on the fact that she is so dedicated to fulfilling her brand that she was willing to go under the knife so that she can be consistent with what this message is. If you gonna do something, do it all the way. Might as well stick the landing. So I guess I will give her credit for that. But that is where my credit ends. Um, she's whatever. I don't even care. Like I've had my fill of dissecting what these hip hop people say. I don't even care anymore. That is a pocket universe full of misery and dysfunction. Um, I appreciate the art form of the music, but the individuals who are a part of that ecosystem, um, I can do without them. Honestly, I can. I don't even care anymore about what these people say and do. The only problem that I have is that they are such trendsetters and they are so influential with the way the rest of the people in regular society who don't exist in these pocket universes dictate their own behavior. And that's pretty much the extent of my thought on this. The only I won't even say an issue because again, I'm so apathetic towards it at this point. I don't even care anymore.
Mhm.
But I do notice that this type of mentality has a trickle down effect to regular people who aren't hip hop stars, who don't have brands.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like you got a lot of people out here, just like the rappers who do the trap stuff and do the gang banging, shooting, I'll kill your auntie, I'll sell your uncle some dope stuff. Like you got a lot of these, guys out here who live by that code, many of whom didn't even come from that kind of environment, but they've just been so conditioned by the music and the messaging in the music
Yep.
that that's how they think that they're supposed to conduct their lives.
Yep.
And you got a lot of women who do this, who now they're walking around saying thick bitches only in my crew, no skinny girls allowed, just to go out for a night at the club. Like you ain't got no brand, you ain't famous, you ain't nobody. But these women think like this. Women, who listen to enough of this stuff will start copycatting that mentality, that ideology. And that's the only trepidation that I have is, we might look at this kind of stuff and dismiss it as no big deal. This is just another thought rapper saying a bunch of thought rapper stuff. But you'd be surprised how many people glean that as an indication of the type of things that they should be believing and operating when it comes to how they do their life on a regular basis. And so, honestly, that's the only thing that I have to say about it. Like, otherwise, yeah, I get it, her brand, whatever. Um, Again, I think it's stupid, but these days you can build a brand off of pretty much anything. I understand that. I recognize it, so I don't besmirch it. Get your money and do you, I guess, as they like to say. But you got a lot of these girls out here who are just Walmart cashiers, work at Bloomingdale's, they work at Forever 21, or some of them, they do Uber, or they're servers at restaurants, and they're saving up money so that they can get ass surgeries.
Yeah.
And they're saving up money to get ass surgeries so that they can mimic people like this, despite the fact that they live otherwise anonymous lives, and that I think is disturbing.
Yeah. That's a good point, man. And honestly, the ass surgery stuff is just sad. Side note before I get into my point, I had went to KOD. What year was that? 2012-ish, 13-ish. And it started getting on the scene with the booty shots and all that other stuff. And I wanted to see what it was about. So I paid for a dance. And I gotta tell you, man, aesthetically, whoa, yeah, aesthetically, whoa, it was looking crazy. But hand to hand, close contact, I was disgusted. It felt like a basketball. And basically it's the idea of a booty, but not a real booty. It's
Exactly.
it's
Yeah.
disturbing.
Yeah.
So to each their own, but I am not a fan. But the point I was gonna make is there have always been pretty women in videos. Um, when hip hop was actually hip hop, yeah, there would be a pretty woman featured over here, over there, and that's fine. But mid the latter part of the 90s, especially the late 90s, especially the early 2000s, um, there was just half naked women, money being thrown at them by rappers. And I talk all the time about how everybody was catching the same mind control. So as a guy, I was watching Dame Dash pour champagne on a woman, and I was like, "Yeah, she just taking it. She just loving this." And people just throwing money, Nelly swiping credit cards between butt cheeks, and it was just objectifying women, objectifying women. At first, as a young person, it was hot. I didn't have access. There was no internet. So this stuff was hot. I'm like, yeah, I want girls that's just having a good time and partying like this. I want girls that just, and it just got, I had my own system of mind control. The girls that were watching that were my age was seeing how much money is getting thrown at them. They're seeing the status of men that they can sleep with because they look a certain way. So this girl here, she's the fruits of that type of mind control. And so we're starting to see more and more women go into the stripper category because strippers were glorified in the late 90s, early 2000s. And so now that these women can actually actualize that type of behavior, they're actually going out there and doing it. And now we're seeing more and more women take that curve over that way. And like you said, their influential presence on social media and whatnot. Um, newer people don't have a frame of reference to remember they were just pretty girls in videos. I personally, and it was probably like the mid 2000s, the early 2000s. I started to personally get sick and tired. I was like, you cannot. This song has nothing to do about a strip club, but yet and still, there's a strip club going on, and there's ass shaking, and there's money being thrown. Then when social media like Instagram and Instagram became a thing where you can actually see firsthand testimony from actual strippers. They're getting the likes, they're getting the views. And on top of that, they got a garbage bag full of money. So then it becomes a situation where these are my role models for a little girl or a woman who has a body or whatever. And now the women that didn't have a body can go pay for one. So that's why the Bloomingdale girl is saving up her checks so she can go to Brazil and get botched. It's a mad cycle that we're living in. It sucks for the new people that don't have a frame of reference, but for the people like us who do have a frame of reference, and the young guys, because the young guys be in the comment section going crazy over this stuff too, because they don't know the difference between reality and this goofy stuff that's happening now. So it is a dangerous cycle that our people are trapped in right now. This woman here is a reflection of that. She's so into this, just like a trap rapper, because the new trap rappers and the new kids that's out here talking about gang banging and stuff, they're not doing what Rick Ross and Jeezy did. Those guys were just talking about it and they didn't do anything. These new kids are getting RICO cases because they're actually murdering people. They're actually doing the drugs. And so this girl here is a reflection of she's really out there selling herself.
Oh
And
yeah.
and she's really promoting that as a real genuine lifestyle. So the people, the fringe people, the outliers, they're the ones that's grabbing the mic, and they're the ones that's washing the brains of whoever's willing to listen. So yeah, man, this is dangerous stuff. I agree with you. I may have heard the Busset song, in passing, but this Megan Thee Stallion, Banks girl, and the body, the 2000 body girl, all of this stuff, man. This is unfortunately, we've hit this area in our society where um self self degrading um anthems are the norm. And these songs are disgusting. When I hear them, they're gross. I was laughing and saying, yeah, but I was of course being sarcastic. Not a fan of this stuff at all. Not even close.
Yeah, that's I agree.
Mhm.
Again, I recognize it for what it is though. So if I'm going to be truly up in arms about it, then I'd have to be consistent. I wasn't up in arms back when I was listening to, mind control, hip hop music, and all of the men were talking about, you know, um, all of the other stuff, the objectification, abusing women, all of that kind of stuff that was going on. This is just the other side of that.
Yeah.
It's the female equivalent.
Mhm.
So I can't be, if I'm not mad at one, then I can't be mad at the other. I just recognize it for what it is.
I'm mad at both
The
of
only,
them.
yeah, yeah. The only thing, well, what I'm saying is, I can't, in retrospect, I can't say I hate it. Like when I was a kid, okay, in the 90s and early 2000s, when I was doing this, when I was a kid, I didn't hate it. I
Right,
didn't.
right.
Now I
Right,
didn't
right.
know any better. I
Right.
didn't know any better. I was ignorant to what was going on, but I didn't hate it.
Mhm.
So if I didn't hate that then I feel like as an adult who's aware of what's going on, I have to be reasonable enough to say, even though I don't like this, it gets its due just like the other stuff got its due. But none of it is good. It's all damaging.
Mhm.
And people really, we don't glean music in the same way that we glean other forms of entertainment. We really do internalize it as reality.
Yeah.
Where like you can watch a movie and you can separate fact from fiction in movies. You can watch a movie and be like, okay, this is entertainment. This is for entertainment purposes only. It's fiction. But when it comes to this music stuff, we really do internalize it as reality. And so, for stuff like this, I'm just looking around and I'm saying, I go to my gym. So like I go to the gym a lot. I go to the gym 5 days a week. Okay. And I go to the gym and I can see the girls who have who have had butt surgeries.
Mm.
Like it's a lot, and it's growing in numbers, and I can spot it a mile away.
It's
Like
gross.
it's like I can. You're not. It's not proportioned to the rest of your body frame. You can easily tell when you're dealing with when I can, at least I can spot them a mile away. I can look at them and see, oh, she's had butt surgery. And so like these aren't, now look, granted, for all I know, each of them, they got, the way this stuff works nowadays, for all I know, these chicks probably do got 10,000 followers each. I don't know. Anybody will follow a woman nowadays if she posts the right kind of pics. I won't. You ain't getting none of my money. You ain't getting my follow. It won't be me, but I'm assuming that they probably know how to flex the social media machine. So I can only imagine what these women are into. It's probably a handful of those girls who go to my gym who probably do OnlyFans and all kind of stuff. I can only imagine. But I can just see it. And it's not just famous hip hop chicks. It's not just strippers. It's not just bartenders and bottle service girls. It's regular, everyday, working women who are doing this. And so that's why I'm looking at it saying, this is crazy. Like, I don't want to end up like, I don't want to end up with one of these women. Like, I'd still prefer a girl who just works on what she has. Like, give me a girl who goes to the gym and does squats and lunges and, is on a keto diet and all of that. Give me that 7 days out of the week, and I'll pass on that, on the rest of this other stuff, honestly. And then, to do this and then just spew out toxic rhetoric like, I can't be around skinny women, you got to be thick to be around me when we go to the club. Whatever. You, Miss Lady, are messed up.
And yeah, and,
That's it, man.
and she's dismissed. And
Yeah, yeah.
I'll just say this: they only look good, and if I ever see it and it looks good, it only looks good in a dress, and that's because everything's covered. But as soon as they wear pants and you can see the proportion of stuff, it is just absolutely just, what did you do
That's
to
what I'm
yourself?
saying. That's
Yeah,
what I'm
what did
saying.
you
Yeah.
what did you do?
Yeah.
So, ladies, if you're contemplating that, please reconsider. All right. There's men out here that still love the natural. I was never a fan of breast augmentation either. Um, if they're flat, hey, I'm still there. You know what I'm saying? There's guys that appreciate women for their feminine energy and just being a woman. So you don't have to go out there and look like these clowns, because honestly, they look like clowns to me. So yeah, man. Way of the world right now. The way of the world.
Yeah. New humans. New humans.
New humans, bro.
But yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like what she said, but I understand why she said it though. So it is what it is. Next up, we are going to talk about Adam Levine. So Adam Levine, lead singer Maroon 5. I don't listen to Maroon 5, although I've heard a bunch of the songs that he's been featured on that have been popular. So well aware of who this guy is, general fan of music. So I do know who this guy is, but he is trending for all of the wrong reasons. So he's married, been married for years. He has 2 kids with his wife. This is public knowledge, but he's now being exposed by an Instagram model, of course, for an extramarital affair. So I'm just gonna read something from an article that I found on. Let's see, I found this on page 6. So I'll go ahead and share this so that we can all see what's going on here. So this is an article from page 6. It says Summer Stroll. That's the Instagram model's name. Summer Stroll message after Adam Levine's. Well, no. So the article says Summer Stroll shares cryptic message after Adam Levine's affair denial. Summer Stroll had a shady response to Adam Levine's denial over their alleged affair. Quote, someone get this man a dictionary. The Instagram model 23 cryptically posted on her Instagram stories on Tuesday, only a few hours after the Maroon 5 frontman 43 claimed he, quote, did not have an affair, but rather, quote, crossed the line. Levine admitted to exchanging flirty messages with someone other than his wife, Behati Prinsloo. I hope I'm saying that right. But implied that was all that happened. Quote, I used poor judgment in speaking with anyone other than my wife in any kind of flirtatious manner. The She Will Be Loved singer said on his Instagram stories earlier on Tuesday. However, Stroll claimed to page 6 Tuesday that she and Levine did have a physical relationship in 2021. In a viral video posted to TikTok, where Stroll first made the cheating allegations, the model posted screenshots of text messages that Levine allegedly sent her. One read, "You are 50 times hotter in person, and so am I. Ha ha ha," which would imply that the brunette beauty and rocker had met up at some point. Stroll also told us that she and Levine have not spoken in months. Meanwhile, the voice star is looking to move past the scandal. Quote, to be this naive and stupid enough to risk the only thing that truly matters to me was the greatest mistake I could ever make. He also said in his statement, I will never make it again. I take full responsibility. We will get through it, and we will get through it together. And then it talks about his kids. Stroh apologized to Prince Lou, who's 34, in a second TikTok video on Monday, stating that she, quote, fully realizes she is not the victim in the situation. I'm not the one getting hurt in this. It's Behati and her children, the model added. And for that, I am so sorry. So there you have it. Adam Levine, getting caught thirsting, getting exposed for thirsting after an Instagram model. Now, for a little more background information, there have been other women who have come out saying that Adam Levine approached them with similar behavior. So more women come forward accusing singer of sending flirty messages. A comedian named Marika posted a series of screen grabs Tuesday of an alleged convo with the singer in which he tells her, quote, distract yourself by effing with me. Marika also posted a private video Levine allegedly sent her in which he says, quote, "I'm stupid," though the context in which he sent it isn't totally clear. Another woman, Allison Rousseff, also posted a series of DMs allegedly sent to her from Adam, which read in part, "I shouldn't be talking to you. I shouldn't be talking to you, you know, right?" During another exchange, when Allison states she only likes metal music, Levine allegedly responds, "Said no hot chicks ever other than you." Allison says she made the decision to post the DMs because she feels really bad for Adam's wife, VS model Bihati Prinsloo, and encourages other girls to do the same. Wow. So she's openly encouraging these women to out him for all of this. So, I just wanted to bring this up and talk about this mainly for the Adam Levine angle. Um, so, and I mentioned this before, and I'm gonna let you go ahead and say what you got to say. But maybe this is just me speaking from my position of not being a famous rich celebrity. But I've just never noticed why guys who have the ability to get whatever woman they want whenever they want, even if they're married, uh, open themselves up to this kind of exposure by doing it on social media. That's the part of this that I don't understand. But I'll go ahead and leave my initial remarks there. Penny, for your thoughts on what you have to say about this very ugly situation with this guy. I don't think this is going to end well for him, but that's just my initial speculation.
Yeah, this is messy, man. This is messy stuff. Yeah, I hate to hear stuff like this. Honestly, this is whack. It's kind of like the Tom Brady thing, where I'm not even investing in this guy. This sucks for him. But hey, he's the guilty party, right? He's the one out here doing it. So it's kind of like what you said in our first conversation, where we were talking about the qualifications of cheating. Like how women say, if you're having an emotional attachment to her or whatever, you're cheating on me. I kind of have the same philosophy, and I got it from women. And so if having an emotional attachment to somebody else is a thing, and that's cheating to you, then behavior like this, DMing somebody online, having inappropriate conversations at work, you're cheating. And so if you can't do it in front of your partner, you're cheating. So he probably didn't have to carry it out. That's why he said he made a bad decision on trying to, hey, I never hooked up with her. I was just talking to her, and that was a bad decision on my part, So even if that's his thing, it's like, bro, that's not clean. That's I don't know how much damage control you got to do to handle that. So yeah, I just feel like this is very unfortunate. But when you're in a serious marriage, you got 2 kids, and you're posing in a dress with your kids, you're really invested in that situation. And so it's wild for celebrities because they have a black card, and the only thing they have to do is just say, "I'm Adam Levine, lead singer of Maroon 5," and then draws is coming off. and so him shooting shots online, that's low hanging fruit. I'm not trying to recommend the right thing to do, but do that on tour, bro. What most musicians and athletes do. So yeah, this is for him leaving a paper trail of dirty work. He asked for this, and it sucks. I think this is bad for him, but at the same time, I can only feel but so bad, because that's reckless behavior. That's really like reckless behavior. So how are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I'm pissed at him. So like, and I referenced this same video last week when we talked about Ray Allen and his Bryant Coleman situation. And I was saying to myself, like, so I can understand. And again, this is me just being like, this is me basically getting on my high horse and proclaiming that this is how the world should be according to JV Wins. And I get that. I get that. But humor me if you will. Like, if it was me, if it's me or somebody like me, an anonymous, private, non-millionaire, non-celebrity, and and I would never do this because I'm opposed to this type of behavior, but just hypothetically speaking, and I'm all over social media on Instagram in chicks DMs trying to get their attention on Instagram and whatnot, I would halfway, even though I would say you shouldn't be doing that, period. Like, I'm opposed to any kind of social media thirsting on the part of men. I think all men should stop it. I hate it. I hate all forms of it. I think all men should not do it ever. So even though I would say, hey man, I don't think you should be doing that. You want to meet women, put on your best outfit and go out to the bar or your local watering hole and put your social skills to work and meet women that way. That's what I would say. But like, even then, if it's an anonymous, non-millionaire, non-celebrity, private individual, and they were doing this, despite my misgivings, I would be like, whatever. You don't have the requisite qualifications to not absolutely have to do this. So I'd be like, even though I don't agree with it, whatever. But a person like Ray Allen, I talked about this when we talked about that video years ago, and then an individual like Adam Levine, I don't understand this because you're a rich, famous person. You have all of the requisite qualifications to not have to do this. You don't have to be in DMs. You don't have to. Like, I get that it's there. I get it. I get that it's there. And again, I recognize that I'm on a soapbox right now, and I'm kind of shouting about how I feel like the world should be. I get it. But this frustrates me because if the guys who don't have to do this are still doing it, then there's no reason for guys who could stand to gain more from doing it. There's no reason for them to stop. Does that make sense?
No, totally.
Like, so that, like, there's no reason that if I'm falling for all of these Instagram thirst traps, trying to holler at all of these Instagram models, and I'm all over chicks DMs, and I'm basically begging a woman for her attention by pestering her in her social media feeds, boosting her ego and validating her existence merely for the sake of her existence. Then, if I don't have the requisite qualifications to not have to do that, that's one thing. But if I'm a rich, famous, self-actualized celebrity, and I can literally walk into any place and snap my fingers and get any woman I want in person, and I didn't go through the muck of being all in DMs, why wouldn't you do that? And so, that's the part about this that frustrates me, is like seeing this stuff play out with these people who are in his position. If he's doing it, then you damn sure better believe every other guy in the world who ain't in his shoes is going to do it too. So, like, it goes to show you that there's no slowing down this internet thirsting stuff. It's only going to continue to pick up steam. It's going to get stronger. The momentum for it is going to continue, and it's going to get stronger. And I just wish that there was more balance to this situation, and you didn't have guys who have all of the qualifications necessary to not have to thirst on the internet. I wish we had those guys not doing it. But yet and still, here's Adam Levine, just like Ray Allen all of them years ago, and the rest of these other simpleton NBA players and NFL players and these entertainers. You don't even have to, bro. You can get whatever girl you want without having to do that. And you get into these DMs and you leave receipts, and now these women want to expose you if something don't go right. Now you're embarrassed publicly. And in the case of an individual like Adam Levine, if it really goes south and you end up getting divorced, how much alimony, how much do you think those alimony payments are going to be per month?
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? How much are you going to be paying? Spousal support, child support. You got 2 kids. If this goes bad enough, now this really has some serious ramifications, all because you couldn't help but thirst on Instagram. So like, I'm not even sitting up here being a moralist saying, and whatever your personal feelings on infidelity are, that aside, I'm not sitting up here being a moralist saying don't ever cheat on your wife. I'm not saying that I would do that. I'm just saying, if you're someone who is in his shoes and you have all of the requisite qualifications to be able to do this cleanly without leaving any sort of trail, why are you doing it in such a sloppy manner, as though you're some private everyday Joe who, works a 9 to 5 and you don't have a following and you're not a rich celebrity? Leave that up to those guys to do that. Why are you, doing the same type stuff? And that's what frustrates me about this the most. I don't even really get into whether he should or should not have cheated. It is what it is with that kind of stuff. See the first topic that we did where we talked about, the disparity between men and women and the rates of infidelity and why each sex does it. But, in terms of just your motivations for doing it and the means by which you go about doing it, come on, man. More people need to adopt the Derek Jeter model. Pick up that NDA agreement. Seriously, do it in person, man. Slide over that NDA agreement so that you can't get your DMs exposed if you're so inclined to do the DM thing. But really, I feel like you shouldn't even be on the internet. Get off. Get off of it. This stuff is such a drug to these freaking narcissists, these celebrities, and these people who just think that they're impervious to any sort of calamity. And now a calamity has befallen you, Adam Levine, and you do have no one to blame but yourself.
Yep. And I'm sitting here looking at our IG, and I get it. She definitely has breast augmentation. But I'm just looking at this, and I'm not really impressed. That's a nice picture, but I'm not really impressed. And I went to the Miami Texas A&M game this past weekend. Had a great time. And Texas A&M country, College Station. I mean, there were girls everywhere. I mean, there was so many of the bunnies out there, and I seen some out there that were just regular Texas A&M students that looked better than this girl. If I was Adam Levine, lead singer of Maroon 5, walking through that crowd, wouldn't have to send one message. Wouldn't have to send one message. And again, I'm not advocating nor telling people how to cheat.
Right.
But like you said, it's stupid. And you're acting as if you're not him. And
exactly.
Like, you can go to the grocery store and find something better than this. Granted, she's a model, but was she an IG model? So what does that even mean?
I don't know.
So yeah, the new thing, man, because she also looks young. She's got 407,000 followers.
She's like 23. Yeah. She's like 23, 24, something like that.
So she's a young person, and this is part of the young people's movement, is to out whoever got in a DM for clout. And I'm sure her followers shot up after all of this crap. And I'm pretty sure she's gonna get money out of this. So you don't win. You don't win reaching down like that on the internet, because they're going to expose you. Yeah. They're just going to do that. So again, man, I don't know what he was thinking. Because I'm not surprised that more women are coming out, because that's more clout for those women. And so for him to have this behavior overall, It's confusing and disappointing. Jeopardizing a whole situation, kids and all of that. Yeah, that's wild business, man. And so, but yeah, whenever I look at situations like this and the person gets outed and I see who the outed, the person that's outing them looks like, and it's like, I'm never blown away. There's
Yeah.
there's so many beautiful people in the world. There's so many. But the ones that get labeled model are the ones that get held to a higher esteem. Yet and
Hmm.
I see better looking women on a regular basis than that. Are they as dolled up as this person? No. But if that girl got as dolled up, she would look better.
Hmm.
So like I said, man, I was at that game and I saw so many women out there. I mean, bro, by the way, it was blowing FSU out of the water. I was
I
like,
don't
oh,
know. I don't
nah,
know.
dude, nah. You
I
had to see
gotta.
what I saw.
I would have to be out there. I would have to be out there. Florida State. Florida State is tough.
No,
Florida
Florida
State's
State
tough.
got Florida State got it going on. But when I was saying, I was like, it was the numbers.
Yeah.
It was so many of them, and I was just like, what is going on out here in College Station?
I don't know, man. There was an article written not too long ago. I don't know how they compiled this information, but it was like college campuses with the most attractive women, and Florida State was like top 5.
Oh yeah,
Florida
yeah,
State
yeah.
was like number 3.
Mhm.
So Florida State's tough. Now I haven't been to College Station, granted, so my opinion on this is not fully informed. But the bigger point is I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah,
Whether it's on Florida State's campus or College Station, you're gonna see so many girls who look better than that, who are just in person and they're everywhere, and you don't have to be in no DMs and stuff. So yeah, I
I
agree with what
mean,
you're saying. Yeah.
yeah, and I guess I'm pretty sure. I guess he does get his stuff off at his shows because groupie love at shows is a thing, but I need more. And so, yeah, and so I'm pretty sure he does his own thing on the side outside of Instagram. But hell, while I'm on Instagram, I might as well shoot over here and over there. And
Mhm.
so when LeBron was having his moments of stuff like that, and I was like, LeBron, what are you doing? You're LeBron James. Like the whole world knows you. You know what I'm saying? Like there's millions of women literally that are not like online like that that
Mhm.
that would throw themselves at you. And
That
here
look
you
and
go.
look better than the girl that you're thirsting after.
It's mind-boggling.
Yeah.
Like I've never the hardest I thirsted online was, what I'm saying, liking pictures. Oh, I'm gonna like this one. Yeah, I'm gonna like this one. Sometimes I used to leave comments, in the feed, but I never went the DM route. Not saying that I'm better or anything. To me, it comes off, yeah, like you said, thirsty, and it's kind of corny. And corny, thirsty behavior eventually gets outed.
It
And
does.
yeah, so yeah, this is corny from a guy who has so much status and influential power. For him to He's not throwing it all down the drain, but he damn sure jeopardized something that's pretty important to him, I would say. And
Yeah.
and that's the thing, man. If you really got somebody next to you that's solid and he or she is really holding it down, um people really got to appreciate that nowadays. I don't know what his marriage is like, but let's assume that it's standard and pretty good. For you to jeopardize something so strong for something so fickle, it's disappointing, and I it never really makes sense to me. When the getting is good and I'm in a relationship, I got blinders on. I got blinders on. My work conversations are straight up. If there was an audio recording of what I was saying to whatever girl, everything comes out clean, because I like to sleep good at night when I'm dealing with a girl. And when you living dirty like this, you know, it's a you wake up dirty, you know, and you know it's just not clean. So take heed out there, everybody. Internet thirsting is not the move. You don't have to be Levine to get out it. You know, the only thing you need is your old lady on your page and hear that girl go come and DMing your girl and saying, hey, you might want to take a look at these screenshots. So tighten up out there. This internet stuff is a facade. Don't waste your time, don't waste your energy. Yeah, man, I'm with you with the whole thing of internet thirsting needs to come to a complete halt. And that will reverse some BBL surgeries. That'll reverse a lot of this madness that's going on. And yeah, just like I used to talk about with the OnlyFans and stuff like that, we're only adding fuel to the fire of this madness when we're behaving like this as men. So shame on Levine, man. I'm not a tisk guy, but this is a tisk situation. Was it Kanye? Was he on a Kanye song or was it Lupe Fiasco? I think it was Lupe Fiasco.
It might have been both, but he was on Heard 'Em Say with Kanye off
Okay.
of Late Registration.
Okay, yeah. That was he crushed that shit. I love that.
He's been on a lot of stuff. You probably just can't think of it off the top of your head.
Yeah. I'm not a Maroon 5 guy. I was more of a Coldplay guy. Boo. I was more of a Sorry, I like Cold. I like that guy. So but yeah, what you was about to say?
No, I hear all of that. Yeah, I do. I think that a lot of you know, there are certain aspects of how relationships are so dysfunctional that I do think would be alleviated if there was not so much internet thirsting on the part of men. So I do agree with that point too. That can be its own video by itself too. But furthermore, I just, you know, I live in a world where if you work hard enough to achieve something, you get to reap the benefits of your achievement. So like if I grew up poor and I worked hard and now I'm rich, you know, I can afford that be driven everywhere instead of riding a bike or not having a car or having to do all my own driving, you know, or like if I'm rich, I've earned the ability to be able to hire someone to clean my house. You know, like I believe I believe in the linear nature of things in that way. If I work hard to achieve something, I have gained access to certain privileges that I didn't have before before I did all of this achieving. And so for me, like one of the aspects of achieving and getting to the point where you've become uber successful is I have made it to a certain point of achievement that I do not have to beg or grovel or be all up in women's DMs on social media, on the internet. Like if I've reached that point, if I've reached that level of success, I shouldn't have to do that anymore. And you don't. Like I agree, like, and I do think that Adam Levine probably does, like you said, gets his groupie love, his show love, and all of that kind of stuff too. Like you should be doing that only. Like do that. Do that. You can get it whenever you want, however often you want. So stick to that. Don't hop up in DMs too. You've graduated beyond that point. You don't have to do that anymore. Exactly. That's for commoners and people who haven't achieved the level of success that you have.
Right.
If you, as an individual who has achieved the height of success, is going to stoop to that kind of behavior, what message does that send to the people who are supposed to be doing it? Like, you know, and that's what I'm doing. Like, and that's what I mentioned when it comes to this trickle down effect. Like, you know, people who I know who be thirsting, they ain't never gonna stop if they see Adam Levine thirsting. If a rich guy's gonna thirst, then why can't I thirst? If a rich guy's thirsting on Instagram, all up in chicks' DMs, then why can't me, a 9-to-5er, do it? You know, there's no reason why I'm gonna stop if the rich guy isn't gonna stop, because even if I aspire one day to get to that point where he is, I already know that when I get there, I'm still gonna be doing the same thing. So why stop? I might as well just keep going.
Mhm.
So I don't know, man. That's just how I look at this stuff. It disappoints me when I see this kind of stuff playing out because it makes me feel like there's no hope. Um, because I imagine that one day I'm going to be able to self actualize, and when I get to the point where I'm financially free and I've self actualized, and I'm my own check writer, I envision being able to reap the benefits of that, both in terms of my personal and professional life and in terms of my relationship life.
Mhm.
And if I see that that's not possible, then that's one less incentive for me to strive for that. Even though, me being me, I'm never gonna stop striving to achieve it. But damn, like that's a pretty big perk. And if I'm not gonna be able to take advantage of that perk because I see that even upon getting to that status, I still might have to resort to being in chicks' DMs. Oh man, like that's a tough pill for me to swallow. It really
Mhm.
is.
Mhm.
And I do think people like Adam Levine owe it to not necessarily me individually, but other guys to set a better example. Not I'm not trying to engage in righteous indignation, but you don't have to do that. You can do whatever you want. You're Adam Levine, you can get whatever girl you want, whatever. And
So bizarre.
you don't have to slide in DMs. You don't have to. You can be Adam Levine right now and go to Trader Joe's. And there's gonna be some 9 or 10 in Trader Joe's because no matter what public place you go to, there's at least a few 9 or 10 women in there because there's beautiful women all over the place. They're
Exactly.
everywhere. I can't
Exactly.
go. I can't go a single day without seeing beautiful women in person. It doesn't matter where I go,
Mhm.
right? It can be anywhere, and I'm gonna see him. So he can go anywhere. He can go to Trader Joe's. He can go to Whole Foods. It doesn't matter where he goes. They're all over the place. Shoot that shot, bro. She's gonna oblige. She's gonna do it. So it's just like, why are you in DMs? Why? I don't care who she is. I don't give a damn what kind of Instagram model she is. You're above that. You're above it. Like that's just how I feel.
Totally. Nah, totally agree, man. That, again, like, to touch on that last point, and I'll be done with it. Or the first topic that we talked about. I mean, yeah, this is one of those guys who, he's an achiever, man, and he's on that totem pole, high up enough on that totem pole where he's the one that's slaying multiple women and getting
Mhm.
whatever he want because he's reached this level of status and success or whatnot. And so those were the ones that we said that have the options or the black card
Mhm.
to cheat.
Right. Right.
And so, yeah,
Right.
he's clearly doing it. And so, if you're going to be this guy that's so high up on the totem pole and you want to cheat, the only thing we're saying is, hey, bro, if you're going to do this because you're going to do it, this is a sloppy, stupid way to do it.
For real,
And if you want to jeopardize your life, your finances, your legacy with this foolishness, with a basic girl that you can find on any college campus, it blows my mind.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. So goofy stuff, man. I hate when families go through stuff like this because I'm a real big family guy. You know what I'm saying? And so when because the kids suffer from this.
Mhm.
And so I'm not a big fan of that part. So for him to jeopardize his entire family, I'm pretty sure she thinks and already assumes he does his thing on the road when she's not welcome. So take that leeway pass.
Mhm.
Don't
Yeah.
embarrass her and the rest of your family with this goofy internet thirsting.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that's my final point on this, man. But
Yeah.
hopefully they stay together and the kids, you know, they're too young to understand what's going on right now. So
Yeah. Yep. We'll go ahead and end it on that note, man. Again, I'm not trying to be a moralist and try to dictate whether one should or should not cheat. I'm just saying when you've reached a point where you can do things cleanly and do it at a certain level, do it at that level. Live up to the status that you've achieved to. Like regular guys, department store guys, retail guys, um, you know, fast food working guys, restaurant guys, service industry guys, you know, those are the guys who are in DMs because they just have to shoot as many shots as they can to get as many bites at the apple as possible. You are someone who gets apples thrown at him. So you don't even have to do this stuff anymore. So you shouldn't be doing it. You shouldn't do it. Don't give power to these women with these by capitulating to this thirst trap, to these thirst machines. And so that's where I kind of look at him and I say, bro, you royally screwed the pooch on that, man. It's disappointing. It pisses me off. It really does.
Mm-hmm.
But having said that, we're gonna go ahead and close out, man. Good luck to you, Adam Levine, and your whatever you got going on. And I hope for your sake that you learn how to not thirst after average looking Instagram models. And
Please don't do it.
we will leave it there. But we're gonna go ahead and close out for this week's video, man. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. As usual, JV Wins, Dogon SS. We appreciate you supporting logical content. If you enjoyed the commentary in this video, please subscribe to the channel, hit the like button. It comes at no cost to you. We certainly appreciate the support. You can follow the Conscious Approach page on Instagram at ConApproach, ConApproach, and you can also follow me on Instagram at JV Wins. If you're watching this video on the Facebook page, like the Facebook page, share the video, comment wherever you're watching the video, whether you're on the YouTube channel or on the Meta page. Certainly appreciate that. Always appreciate you supporting logical content. Check out the website as well, consciousapproach.com. We're going to continue to crank out more videos. We do this every Tuesday with additional uploads throughout the weekend in case you missed it. So whether you're watching this during the live stream or whether you're watching this as a standalone video, keep tuning in, man. Keep supporting logical content. Keep supporting the channel. We certainly appreciate that.
Yes, sir. And the name is Dogon SS. You can find me on Instagram at Dogon_SS or on YouTube at Dogon SS or my other YouTube channel, Hurricane Dogon, right? Where I cover the Miami Hurricanes and also anything college football related. All right. So go ahead and like and subscribe over there. Hit bells for notifications over there too. Because I will be going live. All right. So like JV says, man, continue to support the logical content, man. We really appreciate you guys for watching. Like 100. Can't express that enough. All right. But like I always say, man, don't be too high, don't be too low. Keep it even kill, keep it chill, keep it player. You know what I'm saying? Keep it neutral, man. Don't let anybody get you off your pivot. All right. Don't let anybody get you upset. All right. You're the controller of that, not them. All right. So support that logical content and we'll catch you guys on the next time. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. And fellas out there, stay out of the DMs.
Don't
stay
do
out
it.
of the DMs. Get your rod and go fishing for your own catch. It's well worth the experience.
It's so
stay
rewarding.
out of the DMs, please. I'm begging you. You're killing us all with this stuff. But on that note, man, we're gonna go ahead and close out, man. Appreciate you for watching. We'll catch you on the next video. But until then, we're out. Peace.
Peace. Screw.